So what's the latest with two of my favorite designer fragrances? That is Dior Homme Parfum and Fahrenheit Le Parfum. Two from Dior, two that I absolutely love, and two that are not very easily found in the States. Well, I was in Europe for a month, and I'm going to tell you what I discovered about these two fragrances. In fact, these are two fragrances that I brought back. I tossed the boxes because I wanted to make room in my suitcase. So I brought these back, but these were the only two that I was able to find. I couldn't find these two fragrances anywhere while I was looking for them. So if you want to find out all about these two, which I'm glad I found one each, please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. If this is your first time landing on my channel and you wanted to find out about these two fragrances and you love discovering new brands and new fragrances and also having chances at winning full bottles on this channel and you still haven't subscribed to my channel, please click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. Well, I just got back from Europe and up until the very start of my trip, I started looking for Dior Homme Parfum and Fahrenheit Le Parfum. It was very, very hard to find these two fragrances. In fact, every city I was going to, I was actually in a lot of smaller cities, but every city I went to, I was looking for a perfume shop, and I was mostly in France. I was in France for about 2.5 weeks, and then I was in England for about 8 days. So I was gone for about a month. But in the small cities, I was looking at not department stores, because not a lot of the small cities do not have big department stores. But of course, in France, you have perfume shops like Nocibe and Marionnaud. And of course, there's also Sephora. So I was going into these stores and looking for bottles of these fragrances, and a lot of them were sold out. Upon my searches, I did find one bottle of this. I think this was in the city of Deauville. And then I found a bottle of this in Rouen in France, but I couldn't find them anywhere else. It was really, really tough. A lot of the associates with the translation, I can't speak French very well, they were trying to explain to me that because of the holidays they've run out. So it's sad because they are the most popular and they're very, very hard to find. Of course, I saw Dior Homme Intense, Dior Homme Eau, Dior Homme Sport, Dior Homme Cologne, and with the Fahrenheit, of course, you see the original, you also see the Cologne, and I think that's pretty much it with Fahrenheit. There's nothing else, no other flankers. Even in the UK, while I was going to Harrods and Selfridges, all out. And then finally, on my way back at duty free in Terminal 3 at Heathrow, the Dior department did not have any of these fragrances. So I was so happy that I grabbed these two on my travels, because if I hadn't grabbed these two, when I found them, I would not have been able to find them because they were completely out. While I was in Paris, though, I went to Printemps into the Dior department. By the way, if you guys ever go to Paris, make sure you go to Printemps, because Printemps, the department store in Paris, has a new perfume floor. So, actually not a perfume floor, actually, it's an actual perfume and beauty separate store. So, it's its own store now, and you have the major designers on the main floor. Upstairs, you have the niche fragrances and, of course, the larger niche brands. But on the main floor, I was asking the Dior department, what's the deal with this? And I think the woman spoke a little better English, and she was explaining to me that they're completely sold out. It's a company-wide sellout, like completely. And she also said they should be getting shipments in towards the end of January. There's also going to be a price hike on these two. They're raising the prices up about 10 euros each. So that was also a bummer. But even at a big department store, I wasn't able to buy any of these. I was actually planning on buying 3 of each so I can bring them back, and perhaps if I can sell a couple of them, but I would have probably kept them because they're so good. But it's a bummer that I think people do love these, and they just keep buying them. And I think during the holidays, they were great gifts, because there's something about these that screams a little more luxury compared to like the original versions. At least to me they do, because there's also that intensity with each of these fragrances and longevity and, you know, all that good stuff. So it just kind of screams like a better, not necessarily quality, it's just like a overall better fragrance wearing experience with both of these. So I'm assuming that's why both of these were completely sold out. I mean, I couldn't find any, and I was in many different cities and small cities in France, and you go to this store like Marionnaud or Nocibe and Sephora, you'd see a spot for this, you'd see a spot for this, but you'd see a fragrance missing, and I would ask and they would say they just don't have any, which was a bummer. But also at Printemps, I asked our associate there, and she did say these two are no longer being sold in the States, unfortunately. So we have to cherish our bottles, and if we run out and we have a friend going to Paris or somewhere in Europe or even somewhere in duty free, when they restock these, tell them to grab them for you, because they're not going to sell them in the States anymore. It is really a bummer, because the best fragrances, two of my favorite fragrances, these are top 5 designer fragrances for me. Absolutely top 5, because I absolutely love these. They're not going to be sold here in the States anymore. That's truly saddening. It's not going to be convenient for me to buy it anymore. It's not going to be easy to go get it. It's not going to be easy for any of you to go to a store, even order it online. You're not going to be able to. That's just really saddening. I hope they change this. But Dior is doing a lot of different changes, and I have another video coming up about Dior again, but this time we're focusing on the Privé collection, so stay tuned for that. I have some great news about the Dior Privé collection. Perhaps it's great news, but maybe it's not really great news, but I have some information about the Dior Privé collection fragrances. But so far with these two, cherish your bottles. If you are going to Europe, or if you have friends or relatives going to Europe and you want to get a backup bottle, tell them to bring one for you, because you're not going to be able to get them here unless they change that. And this is the information I heard from the sales associates who are working closely with the Dior brand and things like that, and this is what I was told. But with the fact that I wasn't able to find more than one bottle each on my travels, and I've been to multiple cities, as I said, there was surely a high demand for these two fragrances. And I think, I mean, it's obviously noticeable because there are two quality designer fragrances. Anyway, that's my news for these two fragrances. Guys, I don't know about you, but have you found any bottles recently? Is this information that I'm telling you not necessarily correct? Have you been finding bottles being sold at the online discounters, both of these, Dior Homme Parfum and Le Parfum, the Fahrenheit Le Parfum? Let me know, put some comments down, let's get a conversation started. But this is what I brought back, just one of each of these. And that was sad because I was, like I said, was hoping to bring 3 bottles each. Anyway, that's my story about Dior Homme Parfum and Fahrenheit Le Parfum. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Otherwise, please like this video, please share it, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.